All right, let's get into this. So, welcome to Ola the Badeo Bisain. Shouts out to all my subscribers. Shouts out to all the likes, shares, and follows and comments. Most definitely, shouts out to all the future, upcoming support as well. Thank you for actually tapping in and tuning into the channel. All right, so today's topic, we're going to talk about the dream that God revealed to me, which was practically today. I had to get up out my sleep and write down the details and so forth, so on about Sean Diddy Combs, right? So a lot of people are wondering if Sean Diddy Combs actually did these allegations that is said to be. A lot of people haven't followed Diddy from his beginning of his career all the way up till now. But if you go back and if you're a person that observe body language and understand Diddy's transformation changed over time, and I would say that it changed over time just based on the rituals and so forth, so on that he did to transform his facial expression to not look like what he had looked like from the beginning. When you look at Diddy Combs' beginning of his career, he looked distorted, meaning he looked as a pedophile. You know what I mean? So you looking at Reeds, who, for example, with Ursher was a kid to go stay with Diddy for like a whole year, and as you can see, the confessions of Ursher's interview, he didn't go in much detail, but he did mention that there was things that you know that was out of the ordinary. But let's get into this dream and break it down what God wanted to reveal about the dream. Then there's a final message, not only for us to actually observe in Diddy's life, but also our own life to make sure we stay on one accord with the Most High. So first, we want to give praise to the Most High. We want to give praise to the ancestors. We want to pay homage to the four corners of the earth, as well as the universe. We want to pay homage to all spirits that is divinely given access to not only raise the vibrations of the frequencies that's needed on the planet, but also those who are seeking balance in their life and also to be on the right side, which is the divine light. All right, so in this dream, there was a brown skinned man. He was a heavy set. He had a man in a chokehold. He covered his mouth also at the same time while he was entering this white male. Um, the white male was slim, and in the process of these actions that he was taking, the penetration, um, the brown skinned man who was heavy said had a beard. I'm not familiar if this man is the guy that they actually have um, under judgment in the consideration of Tupac's death. But I'm gonna ask God to reveal more and who this particular person is. This person could be in the spotlight like many other people, or he can be in the spotlight, hidden in the background. Hidden in the background just meaning someone who's seen every now and then, who's more like a ghostwriter or a producer who calls the shot and so forth, so on. In this dream, the white male was telling uh, the heavyset brown skinned man how it felt inside him, and as you can know and see that the heavyset white man had, brown skinned man had the white man like in a chokehold and had his hand over his mouth. Everybody know what BS stand for, which is backshot. And so the white man was making sounds and telling him, the brown skinned man, to do it harder. Then all of a sudden, y'all, in the dream, Sean Diddy Combs jumped out on the scene with a white windbreaker jumpsuit. He had that on and he was smiling and dancing. Puffy comes and pulled his zipper downward, for comfort. He took all his clothes off, and then he told the white male and the brown skinned male, he said, "All right, my turn." So the white male stood up, and as headed, he took, as he was heading, excuse me, and towards uh, Sean Diddy Combs, the white male shoved his pee, y'all know what that is, and Puffy grabbed it and shoved it in his mouth and started going away. You know what I mean? So the conclusion is that he's going to jail for sure. Puffy prophetically looking at 15 years or more. They may even give him life. It's just too much substantial evidence on Puffy doing this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, also in Puffy's career, Puffy ended up becoming a warlock by practicing the dark arts, using magic, sex rituals, sex magic, love spells, domination spells, and also spells against uprising people that would take his position. He's willing to do any and everything of these sacrifices, knowing that these were consequences, but he was willing to go at all costs. And there's a lot of people out there like that do these things behind the scene and seem to think that God doesn't see it. God gave us free will. You know, God said in the scripture that I will not intervene with anyone's free will. It's obvious that we all have free will. We wake up, we do what we please, you know, and God is expecting us to be on our best behavior because we're being monitored by God. Man doesn't care about what your behavior is. You know, man also will um, give you fire to the flame to actually increase that because men know that they're not God or he's not God or she's not God and that they won't be the one that's judging you. So, um, with the conclusion, God says he's going to jail. He said this is a message. Don't ever disrespect what he operated. A message for all people doing this got to pay for their life. It's a price to pay for your life. Everyone got to see uh, his wrath, and it's going to either be now or later. God also says you can keep turning your back, um, and that he's still going to be right there waiting on each person on Judgment Day. Some people may feel like Judgment Day is where um, there'll be a group of others, and then that's when they'll be judged. I feel that Judgment Day is every day based on our behavior and our action towards ourselves and others. If we're willing to stop doing things that we know we shouldn't do. Um, he also says he don't care who you are, and if you didn't live right, not try or trying, but live right, you got a problem, a serious one. So practically what God is saying, there's a lot of people saying I'm trying versus doing, or I'm having a hard time. So if you're having a hard time overcoming something, this is where we lean not to our own understanding, but lean unto God, for God to actually help us overcome these things. Um, God is in everything. Doesn't matter what religious practice or religion or spiritual practice, any type of divination. It's all about doing the right thing, whatever knowledge you obtain. But the Most High has to be first. He can't be last for sure. A lot of time people obtain a lot of power and a lot of wisdom and knowledge about things, and the ego kicks in, the arrogance kicks in, and it's like, how dare you tell me what I can and can't do? And so this is where people try to outdo people, and there's a lot of people who've been hurt by these things, whether it's coming from a religious format or a spiritual practice or just even knowing neither or both. People tend to think they're the most high where they say, I'm going to punish you and show you. And then when God allowed them to do it, even though the physical body is not real, these people who are dark end up creating the illusion that any and everything that they do is realistic when it's not. And this is how they fall at God's grace. God's grace what gives mercy upon our actions to ask for forgiveness and for unknown and known sins, and that it allows us to actually be able to um, be restored and given another chance. So um, he said also people need to learn the details of what they're doing, so um, it would help them to reflect more and to actually not use excuses for their actions, for immorality, excuse me, or sexual immorality, excuses. The Most High is saying that He don't have problem people being sexual. It's just the nastiness or the provocativeness, the self-respect that they don't have when they're willing to do extra extraordinary things that excuse me, extraordinary things, excuse me, extraordinary things that are not necessary. All right, so we about to finish this up. So the word that God gave me was blasphemy. So what I went to do, I went and actually went to define blasphemy. Besides just giving my own perspective, even though I do and did knew knowledge of it. So it says blasphemy, saying offensive things about God or religion. Offensive ideas, saying Lord's name in vain. A lot of people use God and say DAMN, or questioning religion any form negatively. God's people who's doing the right thing. So, for example, there's a lot of negative people who have negative things to say about people who are willing to do the right thing will be judged and is considered and is blasphemy, which is rude behavior. People won't cast out the devils that is within them, or the thoughts or the behaviors physically, or the activities they participate, which precede them from goodness and holiness of God. So practically, people are willing to do bad things and project to others that they are full of God or the Holy Spirit, which they are liars, and the devils that in them. And some people call them devils. Some people call them demons. Some call them dark spirits. They all the same with just different brands, but meaning their agenda is the same: to destroy them, to keep them far away from the Most High. People can indulge in alcohol, drugs, or they can indulge in um, um, orgies and so forth. So on, as we can see that P Diddy and this other man and this white male, this is what they participated in orgy. 9 out of 10, it was a sex ritual. You know what I mean? And plus, the demons will have you doing things that you shouldn't be doing anyway. When you're far away from the Most High, you're gonna be lost in the sauce. And a lot of us been there, and a lot of us can witness that if we're willing to tell ourselves the truth or even observant of others. Um, but okay, so the Most High says that people won't cast out the devils which proceed from the goodness and holiness of God. Blasphemy can also include speech, act, writing, and music and art. You can see a lot of blasphemy in music. People who are contradictive, saying they love the Most High, but they teach or rap about things of destruction and harm, killing and molesting and being very sexual outside of behavior, saying it's good to do all these negative things and interactions. And then the writings can be the same thing, where people have quotes, or people writing songs, or people doing poetry, or people speaking of things. And act, of course, is taking action, acting upon, rather it's a thought, or rather it's also the action of, or it's also a memory of something that's being done. In art, of course, you got people who draw sexual things and things like that they shouldn't do, um, that symbolize what side they pick. So a lot of people have picked the devil, or dark side. You don't have to believe in the devil or any of that thing. We just know there's a dark side regardless. So people have picked these things. Okay, so let's sum it up. I'm for everything that the Most High stand for. So I know this is controversy, excuse me, controversy. but others who disagree. I get it. It's okay. Um, in the book of Leviticus 18:22, 2013, it said, "Man must not lie with man." So this already confirmed that the Most High has said that men should never sleep with another man. And for those who doing it, being bisexual, they just know they're going against the Most High. And so you got the LGBTQ is one of those groups of people who are doing it. Females do not supposed to be sleeping with females as well. So for those who want to do further story, that is Leviticus 18:22 and 20:13. So 18 means chapter 18 and 22 means verse 22 and chapter 20 verse 13. I mean, it's more into that to be said. But then you have the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, excuse me, which is the book of Genesis, which is um, make sure I got this right. It's either gonna be Genesis 9 or Genesis 19, where it talks about the Levites, concubines, where they should not been doing the things that they were doing, and God had warned them about doing the things. And so the Most High, from when I read that story, the Most High had sent two archangels down and destroyed the whole city, and told the individuals that were told, which I can't think of their names at this time, that they shall leave the city and do not look back. So what happened was that one of them looked back and they end up turning to a pail of salt, which would be like the Epsom salt um, that we use on today's substance. All right, then he has Judges with an S, 19 about sexual violence. It goes in detail about sexual violence. Just go in there and read it. And if you look for clarity, ask the Most High for clarity, or find someone who's upstanding, who's really a fearful man or fearful woman, to actually break that down, who has experience based on their relationship with the Most High. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you can also build that up with the Most High yourself. And then it says, the Most High says, let me make sure this is, says the man doesn't care. He wants you to know the warning about man. It can be groups, man or woman or combination. Man doesn't care about the world of others. God does. He shows you the do's and don'ts, which man don't show you the do's and don'ts. If you do something, they'll show you the results if they feel that it didn't meet up with their equation, and also the consequences when you do not follow the Most High, that there's a consequence. Man show you the dues. So it says man shows you the dues of punishment, or you receive it by knowing why. That's when you have to ask God for God's help, or someone who knows God, who has faith to answer and request your prayer. So practically a lot of people suffer not getting answers from the Most High because they're not in sync, they're not in line with the Most High, they're not following the Most High's simple structures, morals, respect, and behavior. And so this is why a lot of people's prayers are not answered. This is why people lack in faith, and this is why people don't see the results. So this is what makes people continuously to act out and behaviors mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically towards themselves and towards others, a demonstration. No matter how much they say they love, aka Jesus, which is Yahshua, they continuously to be a hypocrite based on the fact that they're continuously to do the wrong thing. And then when you come to spirituality, meaning the spiritual practice that we all do for those who do it, we take an oath to do the right thing and to help the communities and help other people, but you have people who manipulate by keeping information, actually doing spells on their initiates, also getting others to betray them, getting others, and then that betrayal can be many things, by doing spells against them or deny them or lead them in the wrong way and stuff like that. So, one of the biggest problems in the spiritual community is that people want to have dominance and control over other people, dominance and control of their own life, but they're very reckless in their own. So, I've experienced that a lot, not only in spiritual, community, but also in religious community. So people not doing what they say they are capable of doing or what they say they stand for. So that's why I isolate myself and stand alone and until I meet those individuals, which is not a lot of people. So yes, I do go through a lot of people who say, "Oh man, this guy is very nice," and so forth. So I can one up him or whatever the case they're thinking, but it never turns out in their favor because they understand I am a divine being. I am a chosen one. You're never gonna be able to one up no chosen one. That's one up in the Most High, and that's saying that the Most High is not real. But thank you for taking time out to listen to the conclusion of this opportunity that I'm grateful for the Most High allowing me and my ancestors and my spiritual team. Shouts out to them. Shouts out to my supporters. And hopefully, many of you have gained some wisdom and knowledge of this and gives you an opportunity to reflect in your own life and see what steps you need to take if needed. And I just want to say thank you so much. If you like what you've heard, please like, share, please follow, comment, and until next time, Ola the body, Obi Sayin, Ashe.